Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. The program starts right now. United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills Jr. says there is no evidence that U.S. Agency for International Development USAID funding or other forms of funding is diverted to sponsoring Boko Haram. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede assures that notorious bandit leader Bello Turji, who is at large, will be caught in the long run. And the National Judicial Council insists that the Chief Judge of Benue State, Justice Maurice Ikpambese, remains as CJ, countering the action of the State Assembly, who removed him without following the laid-down constitutional structure. We'll give you all access first to what's going on in politics and in the polity at midday right here on the program. So let's get things started with assurances from the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, that bandit leader Bello Turji, who is on the run, will be apprehended in no distant future. The Army Chief also appeals to citizens to cooperate with the military, as security is everybody's responsibility, while reeling out some success stories of the armed forces, as he told the Theater Command Headquarters of Operation Fasenyama during his operational visit to Zamfara State.
In the last few months, we killed very prominent bandit leaders, like Samala Boka, the likes of Boderi. All those ones are dead. And as we speak, we're still pursuing them and to see how we can make the entire Northwest very safe. You know the ability is on the run as we speak. And for everywhere he goes to, for everywhere he moves to, we follow him there. So let him keep running. It's just a matter of time. He will be removed from this place. Security is everybody's business. So we expect the populace to support us the more, give us information so that we can do our jobs better. For as long as we do that, even our enemies, our collective enemies, will leave a space for us so that we can have space for development.
Well, the National Judicial Council has insisted that Justice Maurice Ikpambese remains the Chief Judge of Benue State until complaints brought against him are investigated and deliberated upon by the Council. A statement by the NJC spokesperson, Kemi Ogedengwe, describes Justice Ikpambese's suspension by the lawmakers in the Benue State House of Assembly as illegal and nullity. The Council explains that there were clear, unambiguous provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended on the discipline and appointment of judicial officers vested in the Council, which clearly were not adhered to in the instant case. And as our first focus today, we have two conversations. One is the fact that we want to find out what's going on with the Lagos Benue State House of Assembly, as well as the issue, things surrounding the 100 days anniversary or 100 days in office of Governor Okpebholo. But let's start from Benue State. We're being joined in the program by Mr. Douglas Akia. He's a member of the Benue State House of Assembly. Mr. Akia, thank you so much for coming on the program. Can you hear me, Mr. Akia?
Brother. Yes, loud and clear. Good afternoon, my brother.
All right, a quick one, Mr. Akia. Of course, I know that you're one of the 13 lawmakers who kicked against this for two reasons. First, you felt that the right path was not followed. Second, the fact that the requirement in terms of quorum, in terms of majority, was not also adhered to. But I understand 13 of you were suspended. What's the status of that suspension now?
The suspension, even by our rules, is null and void. Our rules are very clear, where you have to suspend a member. You have to, first of all, you come by way of motion, and then the member is sent to the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee will investigate and bring a report whether the members have been found wanting or not, before a vote to be put and for the suspension. In this case, that was not done. And then the rules are very clear that for a member should not be suspended for more than 14 days. They went ahead and said they suspended us for 3 months. So clearly, just like in the case of the Chief Justice, they have decided to go completely against the laws and rules of the land.
So, Ms. Hakia, it's a short conversation. So let me find out from you, when is the next plenary?
I don't have for a fact the day that was the day I joined to yesterday, but when we sat on that day, adjournment was for March.
Okay. So does this mean that when
Yes.
the next sitting happens, 13 of you will show up at the complex of the House of Assembly to join the plenary?
Of course, we are members of the Benue State House of Assembly, duly voted by the Benue people, by our constituents. I can confidently tell you I had over 35,000 votes, more than almost more than all the members of the assembly, including the speaker. So he has no authority to suspend me. I represent a constituency. Suspending me means suspending a constituency. And he does not have the authority to suspend an entire constituency.
All right, just before I let you go, so what has Justice Okpebholo said, to the best of your knowledge, has he resumed office? Is he back to his duties? What exactly is this? I know that the NBA, Femi Falana, the Leonard Silk, the NJC, they've come heavy hard on the lawmakers. In fact, they are saying that lawmakers who are lawyers, if I understand very well, who were part of that process should be sanctioned as well. So how far with the CJ? Is he back to work, from what you know?
My brother, please permit me to say this. It is high time all Nigerians take interest in what is happening in Benue. For starters, we only have one lawyer in the assembly, and he was not part of that process. 2, to the best of my knowledge, and based on what the NJC have said, Justice Okpebholo remains the Chief Judge of Benue State. I don't even have the authority to comment much on that, but I know that the law is clear. And then to add to that, my brother, this is key. As I speak to you, they moved vehicles and packed sharp sand to go and block the High Court of Benue State. As I speak to you, there are pictures all over social media of thugs blocking the court, of heaps of sand in front of the court.
Okay.
This is a national security issue now. The federal government should take interest in what is happening there.
Okay. Mr. Douglas Akia, we're going to touch base with you members as this progresses. Mr. Douglas is a member of the Benue State House of Assembly. Thanks for coming on the program. We appreciate it, and we wish you guys the very best. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless. You're welcome.
All right, United States Ambassador, away from that, let's tell you that United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Richard Mills Jr., has given assurances that the American government will investigate allegations of terrorism financing leveled against USAID, that's USAID. The ambassador, speaking after his meeting with Nigeria Governors Forum, says there is currently no evidence that USAID is funding Boko Haram or any other terrorist organization, given what was said by Congressman Scott Perry, accusing USAID of funding terrorist groups like Boko Haram.
Let me be clear. There's no friend of Nigeria that has been stronger in its condemnation of the violence of Boko Haram and Boko Haram's contempt for human life than the United States. We have labeled Boko Haram since 2013 a foreign terrorist organization, a designation that was designed to block Boko Haram from carrying out any asset transfers to the United States, allows us to arrest and seize members of Boko Haram, and allows us to cooperate in investigations with the Nigerian government. We, I can assure you, have policies and procedures in place to ensure that USAID funding, any of our assistance funding, whether it comes from USAID, the Department of Defense, the State Department, is not diverted to a terrorist group like Boko Haram. There's absolutely no evidence that I have seen that that has occurred. And certainly if we ever had evidence presented to us that a program funding was being diverted to Boko Haram, we would immediately investigate, along with our Nigerian partners. And so I just want to be clear that when it comes to Boko Haram, the United States stands with Nigeria in wanting to rid this country of the scourge that that organization represents.
All right, welcome back. So that is also, as we speak right now, the House of Representatives has also passed a resolution, just like the upper chamber did yesterday, to investigate all of this by some of those invitations. But let's move on to Edo State, where it's 100 days since Governor Monday Okpebholo took over as governor of the state, February 20th. And so a scorecard of what exactly he's doing. There's even a live event right here that will be on Channels Television as he gives his scorecard so far. He's made promises. Now it's time to talk about those promises. So being joined on the program by two gentlemen who are going to look at all sides as far as the performance of the governor is concerned. Oshiobughi Okiomoy is a special advisor to the governor of media and publicity. Governor Monday Okpebholo in Edo State. Also joining us is Mr. Shedrack Odugbai. He's a former SA to former Governor Godwin Obaseki. Let's come to you, Mr. Bughi. Let's just give a quick overview of 100 days in office of Monday Okpebholo and what he's been able to achieve so far and what is in the works.
Thank you very much.
What we saw yesterday.
Mr. Bughi, that's for you.
Okay, thank you. So thank you. Great to be on your program. It's been 100 days of the Okpebholo administration. It's a breath of fresh air. Things being done differently, campaign promises being fulfilled. Governor Okpebholo is running on what we call the SHINE agenda. And the SHINE is an acronym for security, healthcare, infrastructural development, natural resources that includes agriculture and food sustainability and education. And in all of these areas, some work has been done, and all that is being showcased in the last, over the last 100 days.
So when you say, okay, security, health, infrastructure, and natural resources. So in specifics, what has it done exactly? You've just spoken broadly. Maybe give us a bit of specific. In security, for instance, in health, did they build? Are there doctors being trained in security? Just give us an overview as quickly as you can.
Okay, for security, and two quick ones. A lot of people are aware that for a long time, a perennial problem we've always had in echoing, so it's a bit difficult to follow you. So we've had a perennial problem in Edo State, cult issues, and it's been one that has been very bad with a lot of lives being lost, young people dying. It happened, it starts again, it ends. But interestingly, just before the inauguration, there was one ongoing, and it had claimed a lot of lives already. So when Governor Okpebholo came in, his first assignment was to address that. So using engagements and at the same time, the carrot and the stick approach, he was able to get all of them to get that matter sorted out. And those wars came to an end. He took it a step further by working with the House of Assembly to review the anti-cultism and kidnapping law, which provides now stiffer punishments for people involved in cultism. Just yesterday, he presented over 60 equipped with modern communication gadgets, Hilux vehicles to the different security agencies, the police, the army, the civil defense, DSS, and the other security agencies. In security, he has also overhauled the Edo Security Network. We all remember how that arrangement came in. It was after the NSAS situation where a lot of lives were lost, a lot of things were destroyed, and the police were off the streets, which exposed the citizens of Edo State to insecurity. And in all fairness, the past administration thought up this idea, which is a form of community policing, getting the people from the communities to be responsible for the security in their areas. And it worked very well for a time and everybody celebrated. But after a while, it seemed to become, to have some political infusions. The agents were not really being used strictly for security issues anymore. They were beginning to be used for other things. So that culminated in the incident that happened before the elections, where a policeman attached to the now governor, then a candidate, passed on. So the IG had to ban that outfit. When Senator Monday Okpebholo came in, seeing the importance of that outfit, he was able to engage the relevant authorities, and it was brought back, but this time better organized, better regulated, with better training. One of the things that was done was that arms that were, they were everywhere, because the way it was done the last time, if you have a gun, when you join the security network, that gun is registered against your name. So the authorities are aware that you have a gun. But after a while, abuse came in. So you see people who go and get arms, and then when they come back, they just register it, and they think that gives them. So one of the things the government did was to mop up the arms in the system, and about 5,000 guns were mopped up from the system. In healthcare,
just before we go to healthcare, Mr. Bugi, just a moment. Just before we go to healthcare, so that we'll get the input of Mr. Dubai. It's a part of the conversation. Mr. Dubai, let me bring you in on this. He's talked about security. I still have more questions concerning security before we go to health. So what's your own assessment of the government in 100 days? Because he's clearly said he's acknowledged Obaseki did some good work with security until it blew over and became a tool for political, maybe witch hunting. Perhaps that's his implication. So what would be your own assessment of 100 days in terms of security under Okpebholo?
What we've seen in the last 100 days, what we saw yesterday, was that we saw the real governor of Edo State come out boldly to address Edo people on it. And when many persons would have wondered, why wasn't it Monday Okpebholo? It was rumored that the man was very busy in his office, still trying to memorize the budget figures of the 2025 budget. So I certainly do not have problem much with Monday Okpebholo. But you see those group of persons who have promoted the man beyond his capacity, those are the real enemies of Edo. And then on top of that list, you have Adam Sali Oshomole, the Independent National Electoral Commission, who had corroborated with the All Progressive Congress under the influence of the presidency to commit a test that we have witnessed in Edo State. That has now led us to having a governor that we will never bargain for. First, it has been 100 days of shame and embarrassment.
Mr. Dubai, hold on, just a moment. I would like you to stick to the conversation. Whatever happened within the election is a subject of litigation, is still at the tribunal level. So let's stay away from that. I deliberately avoided that conversation. My question is that 100 days, however it came, is a discussion for the court. 100 days down the line, he made promises. What has it done in terms of security and other assessments you have in your books that you disagree with from what Mr. Bugi has said? Can we stay to that?
Like I said, there has been 100 days of political talking. What we've seen is that political aggregarism has been promoted and empowered beyond the rule of law and the security personnel in Edo State. There has been 100 days of mindless looting. And then by the All Progressive Congress, the chieftains of the APC among the Okpebholo under the guise of frivolous and overbloated appointments in Edo State. What we've seen is 100 days of destruction, whereby this government has attacked on all the achievements that Edo people has garnered in the last 8 years under the leadership of Governor Obaseki. What we have seen is 100 days of clueless governance, where resources being deployed without any recompense to strategic thinking, planning, or common sense. When the started, it started with the local government, the sacking of local government chairman. That was where it began its government from. And then the Supreme Court judgment against the court of the judgment coming from Edo State High Court, against the advice of the presidency as given by the Attorney General of the President. He went ahead and suspended them. And as we speak today, he took, he now implemented some acting chairmen in this local government. And today they cannot even access their account to the treasury. What that has resulted to is that there are hundreds and thousands of local government staffs, primary school teachers, healthcare officers, who have been paid salaries since January. Many of them, their children have been sent out of school and get to go to bed with hungry stomachs. because Okpebholo does not understand what it takes to provide good governance at the local government level. Beyond that, we've seen the areas that have been reduced to a gangland. There's thuggery, there's agberoism at every nook and cranny of the state. Well, because of this profound agberoism that resulted in the movement of the Edo State Tribunal from Benin City to Abuja. You also saw is that Okpebholo has now signed contracts with this group of men to now to carry revenue by hand, direct receptions of taxation in Edo State. When Godwin Obaseki took over office in 2016, he was the one that repositioned the Edo State Board of Internal Revenue to ensure that everything is being done with the use of technology. Everything that had to do with tax administration, from the beginning of tax assessment, when they begin to evaluate what you ought to pay, to the payments, to the documentation and the processing, were all backed by technology. But we saw that this government has flushed everything into the dustbin and has given licenses to one Atalapa to now begin to collect revenue by hand. When Obaseki took over government in 2016, the IGRO, monthly IGRO for Edo State was 1.6 billion. Obaseki rose it up to 7.7 billion, 7 billion naira monthly. At that year, 2016, the IGRO for Edo State was 23 billion. Whilst at 2023, when Obaseki left office, IGRO was 63 billion. And it was projected that in 2024, we're expected to make 84 billion. But we didn't complete government left about the second week of November.
All right, Mr. Odugbai. All right, Mr. Odugbai. I'm going to come to you in a moment, but I don't think it's 60-something billion. I think it's about 40-something billion. I followed those numbers very closely, but I'm sure you have the facts as well. But I know that the IGR
was 63 billion.
I know the IGR increased, but the measure is maybe we have to check that out. Let's come back to you, Boogie. Let's talk to you in a moment about security. You've mentioned security, and it's raised a very valid and vital point here. If security has been upgraded and has been repositioned, as you claim, the tribunal that is sitting adjudicating over the election that is under contention in the court has been moved to Abuja because of worry over insecurity. He's also talked about digitalization, which is one of the things that Obaseki was praised for. There are flags of Obaseki's government in terms of infrastructure, water and all of that, but one thing he was praised for was that digitalization. I would like you to respond to that as well.
Okay, concerning the situation with the tribunal, we all know how politics can be. We all know how heated it can be. The tribunal issue was an isolated incident. It's not a reflection of what the state or what the city is like. Whatever you had regarding security issues were within the vicinity premises, the premises of the tribunal. And of course, that's a location that had several security agencies there. You had the DSS, you had the police. So there was enough security to maintain whatever law and order was there. And if that failed, then, which I don't really think it did, but I mean, it's in the prerogative of the panel to decide to relocate. In terms of digitization is across board. What I'll just say to that is, and it's important we make that point, that anybody who's in government is in government for Edo people, and Edo people are the purpose of government. If you've been entrusted with a responsibility to lead people, it is about those people. And to that extent, anything that was done that was designed for the betterment of Edo people, it was properly done. It was, I mean, the people's peculiar needs were factored in. It's a responsible government to ensure that Edo people get value for that. But if actions were taken, no matter how good intentions, if they were done wrongly, if they did not protect the interest of Edo people, then it will be discontinued.
So Mr. Bukki, let me understand you before I go back. My apologies, because of time. I'm going to take, if you can be responding one minute, so we can take a few more questions before we wrap up. Are you talking about digitalization of the process that is a problem? Because that's where everybody is running to. Is the government going backwards? Let's just understand what you're trying to explain here.
When you say digitalization of the process, digitalization is across board. Which aspect of the digitalization exactly? If you are making reference, for example, to the e-governance platform, the issues surrounding the e-governance platform were already addressed by the SSG. When the government came in, which has been a major challenge that the government had to deal with, the improper transition between the past government and this government because of issues that we're all aware about. led to a situation where, as the government came in, time and resources had to be committed to having to access what the situation is like, what's on ground. The last government worked with a lot of external actors, consultants from outside. And this present government had to check all of that. What kind of agreements were signed? What kind of contracts were entered into? And when the government came into power, the experts that looked at the e-governance platform had a few concerns about some areas, particularly because of how much control outsiders had over that platform. And the professionals in government said, to be running government business on a platform that has so much external influence may not be the best. But that is being reviewed, and definitely the e-governance platform will come back up, but with some adjustments.
All right, let me, Odubai, let's come to you in your closing thoughts as for what you think about the government so far. He's responded. I also know that you had mentioned collecting, is it levies or taxes or whatever, but I didn't get that point because of the network clogging. But in closing, what would you say is what they've done right and what they are not doing right as Okpebholo's government? In 30 seconds, I can take Boogie's thought as well.
For me, what Mr. Bugi has said is far from reality. There was a digitalization in the education sector. Today, all of those tabs have been withdrawn. This was a system that was being even studied by other national governments as a way forward for educating persons, giving sound and quality education. All of that has been shoved into the mud. In the of tax administration, it was fully digitalized. It has been shoved into the mud, and the Atalakpa recovery concept has given a contract to enforce law on behalf of the tax authority. In the area of e-governance, that e-governance has been totally bastardized and reduced. There is nothing to write home about. Yeah, those state number one in terms of digitalization of governance. Now they are back to pen and paper files from one office to another. When you talk about this GIS, when Tabaski innovated and improved the GIS, that one has also been crumbled. That was crumbled 2 days ago before they celebrated 100 days in office. What I'm saying is that if you look clearly at this government, the Tabaski left over 60 billion. They have been looting the resources mercilessly. They spent so much money in buying vehicles. Obama first spent 5 billion naira buying bulletproof vehicles for himself and his deputy governors. And after that, he took another 15 billion naira to buy 60 SUVs.
All right, Mr. Dubai, that's the more time we'll allow. I'm so sorry. I wish we had more time. But he said, I would like Mr. Bugi to respond. Obaseki left 60 billion because I know that the debt profile of the state was of about 500 billion naira before he left office. We know we have those numbers. Mr. Bugi, in your closing thought, maybe you respond as well.
He made reference to two very key issues that you are not. Yes, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, please. In 1 minute.
Yeah. He made reference to two very key issues that we probably won't be able to address within the few minutes we have. He made reference to the to the Edo Best program, talking about tabs and digitalization in the education sector. And he made reference to, what was the other one again? How much was left. An assets verification committee was set up when this government came in to look at the financial situation amongst other issues, that had to do with government. With the report that has come out, when that report is made public and Edo people are exposed to what went on in the past government, I doubt that he'll be able to come on TV to say the things that he's saying. Same with the Edo Best.
Yeah,
the Edo Best at the end of the day turned out.
No, just land on your thought. Just 1 second.
Yes, the Edo Best program, and like I keep saying, when the opportunity comes up, I keep saying some of the activities of the past government may have been well-intentioned.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, the delivery, the process, at the end of the day, it just turned into something else. So anyway, if we have to look at Edo Best, we'll need a program to look at that and to show what a fraud in quotes that it was.
I must thank you so much. Oshobugi Okioma, essay to the governor on media and publicity, as well as Shedra Kudugba, former essay to former Governor Basaki. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program. We need to do this some of the time at a longer period. All right, that's it on the program. Thanks for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. Bye-bye.